Let me briefly introduce also our network, Metal Studies in Central and Eastern Europe. You can see also our logo, which was created in 2021 by one of the members of Czech Metal Studies, Andrej Kapcar, in that time. I would like to briefly go to the evolution of this network. I will discuss also the directions and challenges or activities which we would like to do in the future. Maybe firstly, we are Metal Studies in Central and Eastern Europe is a network of scholars who are interested in metal studies from Central and Eastern Europe. And it's bringing mainly together researchers from Czechia, Poland, Hungary, and currently also Ukraine. And we established already some network, and the aim is, of course, some cooperation between us, and would like to do some activities also in the future. I would mention specifically that there are also local metal studies organizations in Central and Eastern Europe, and definitely I have to mention Metal Music Studies Poland. They are really well established, and they organized or organizing still conferences about metal music, metal culture. You can see in the screen from their Facebook one of the conferences, and they organize also organize also some conferences about popular culture in general. I can say that in Poland there are I don't know if I can say many, but there are scholars who are really interested in metal studies, and they did a lot during their existence. And if you would be interested in more information, you can also look at contribution of Jakub Kosek, who is one of the main persons in Polish metal studies. And in our YouTube channel, you can see his presentation in our first workshop, and he describes there also the state and direction about Polish metal studies. What I also can say that they already published a lot of articles, also some books. So yeah, really well established local metal studies, and they did also conferences which I mentioned. It can be mentioned that this is the conferences were, as far as I know, in Polish language. There exists also scholars in Hungary. By the way, I definitely have to mention János Fejes, who has also his own blog about metal, and it was one of the first person who I contacted regarding establishing of our network, and it is one of the main person regarding metal studies in Hungary. What I can definitely mention, and I'm really glad for that, that metal studies in Hungary is currently progressing. And by the way, they organized their first conference this or previous year in November. It was 2 days conference, and I would like to definitely congratulate organizers, for example, Mark David Takács and other organizers for this conference. There are also more scholars in Hungary, for example, Mark Nemes, and yeah, and some others. So metal studies in Hungary locally also increasing, let's say. So I'm really glad for this situation. And we have also Czech metal studies in Czechia. It was established in 2017. It was related, by the way, to the course which I mentioned in the beginning about metal and religion. And in the end of that course, we did student conference in that time in 2017, and after that we continued every year with conferences. So you can see also some of my colleagues on that picture: Matouš Mokrý, Gabriela Stašová, Jiří Lukl, Michal Puchovský. We have also some other team members, for example, Ondřej Daniel. And we have 8 members currently. Wojciech Volák is one of the members also. You can see his in the picture also here. So as I mentioned also in the beginning, we already organized 9 conferences about metal. We started with student one, then it was in Czech. Then we continued with another Czech conferences in Czech language. And in one moment, it was in 2021, we decided that it would be good to really internationalize our activities, and we organized first our international conference, Metal and Religion. I think it was a really successful conference, and then we continued with the conference Metal and Transgression next year, and Women in Music Subcultures focused on metal. And now we have let's say 4th international conference about metal called Metal in Central and Eastern Europe: Evolution, Transfers, Challenges, Controversies. We organized conferences in person in the beginning, but from Women in Music Subcultures, we did it only on online regime. But on the other hand, it did help us to reach also a broader audience. So that is, let's say, our history about the conferences. And how metal studies in Central and Eastern Europe as a network started. Maybe for some of you can be interested that the initial idea was to do some international section in the conference about scenes, gender and identity in 2021. It was the Czech conference. And yeah, it was initial idea of Ondřej Daniel, and from my point of view, it was good idea. But in the end, it didn't happen. There wasn't that section in that conference. But this idea evolved into the creation of a network of scholars in Central and in Eastern Europe, and Ondřej Daniel provided me also contact or mentioned János Fejes as a scholar who is interested in metal study in Hungary. I contacted then Polish metal studies, and yeah, we agreed together it would be fine to start some cooperation. And in September 2021, we did the first online meeting with scholars from Czechia, Poland, Hungary, and there were also some people from Germany also in that time. And we established the network as something which we'd like to maintain in the future for the common cooperation. And really soon after that, we organized, or it was organized on our site in Czechia, first metal studies in Central and Eastern Europe workshop. It was online workshop with several contributions there, and we also asked Karl Spreiklon if he would do a keynote speech for this workshop. and Karl Sprakeln spoke about the evolution of metal music studies in general, and establishing of International Society of Metal Music Studies and so on. So you can also find this keynote speech in our YouTube channel if you would be interested to look at it. So it was our first workshop, but definitely not the last one. Our colleagues from Poland organized the second workshop in 2023, and the topic was Metal Behind the Iron Curtain. And there was also a special guest, by the way, Mick Box from Uriah Heep. So he shared also some experience with us, and it was some kind of interview with him in the end of workshop. Then we continued with third workshop, and we did this workshop with our colleagues or friends, I can say, from Germany, Elena and Alexandra. They also participate in our conferences, Metal and Religion and Metal and Transgression, and we met in Brno. And they started to establish also some organization regarding metal studies in Germany, Schwermetal Studien, if I'm correctly pronounced it. And it was really nice to share also some experiences, and we discussed also possible cooperation for future. And yeah, in that workshop participate, for example, also Karolina Karbovnik, which I would also definitely mention as one of our person which we communicate with regarding cooperation of Czech metal studies and Polish metal studies. So Karolina was also very active in our network. This was the last workshop, and I can say that, or I hope we will continue with these workshops. By the way, we discussed with Mark David Takács that it would be good that our Hungarian colleagues will organize the next workshop. So probably we will organize something this year. And as I mentioned, the cooperation between us was also an important thing because we wanted to produce something together. And Jakub Kosek had a proposal that we could do some special issue of academic journal Studia de Kultura, this Polish academic journal. And we did a special issue, Jakub and me as editors, about metal music studies in Central and Eastern Europe. And it was 2022. And you can see there are articles from people from Czechia, Hungary, and Poland also. So it was all, let's say, manifest of our cooperation in that time. What I would like to mention is also that there is a focus definitely on Central and Eastern Europe because of many things, political, and of course there is a war against the Ukraine and the Russian aggression against the Ukraine. And of course, unfortunately, it means also global interest regarding our region. It is also reflected in some academic works. For example, I can mention Germanic and Slavic Paganism, edited by Karina Aitamut and Ross Downing. By the way, you can find there two chapters from members of metal studies in Central and Eastern Europe. One is mine, and second is from Oksana Smorzhevska. And yeah, so it is the fact that this region is currently under the global attention for many things, unfortunately, also because of the war. And what we would like to do was also to do, let's say, more reflection about this region also in metal studies, because I think it is still partially or quite in periphery of the interest of metal studies in general. So I think our mission, let's say, is also to bring the topics regarding area of Central and Eastern Europe to the discussion or broader discussion within metal studies, in global metal studies, and I hope this conference can also help with that. Of course, this region has some specifics. As you all know, there was communist regimes, and it means there was really different path regarding the development of societies on the western part of Iron Curtain and Western Europe and USA, for example, and of course in Eastern Bloc, and there was different political, social, and economic conditions. And already in 1970s, metal already started to establish in this region, and of course it reacts in many things in that environment. And by the way, also with some communist regime representatives and so on. And it is, of course, something which needs to be reflected. And the past under the communist regime or socialist societies and metal in that societies should be still reflected, I think, and we will have also some contributions here in the conference. And after that, there was post-socialist transformation. It meant also that some elements from Western popular culture started to, let's say, massively penetrated Central Eastern Europe, or previously Eastern Bloc. And of course, it did influence heavily local scenes, including Metal One. But on the other hand, metal scene or individual metal scenes in individual countries from the beginning started to implement or integrate local elements and specifics into their art. So definitely see metal is a localized form of metal, and it's important to consider that there are some specifics and characteristic elements. One of them regarding post socialist transformation is, from my point of view, also significant increase of national socialist black metal in Eastern Europe. So I think it can be related also to this kind of transformations in Europe in the time. The present day is characterized by well-established metal scenes in countries in this region. For example, I can mention that there are huge festivals. For example, in Czech Extreme Metal Festival, Brutal Assault. It is really successful project. Started in a really small amount of number of people, and now it is really, let's say, global event or with global attention. In our region, there are of course bands who had and currently have still global influence. For example, Behemoth from Poland, and of course there are some other examples. One of them was, by the way, the Krabator, also the Czech death metal band. And from my point of view as a scholar from the study of religion field, for me it's interesting to see the interaction of metal and religion. I mean established religion and churches in this area, because in Central and Eastern Europe, except Czechia, there is increasing relationships between say churches and politics, and it can be said as some kind of deprivatization of religion and connections with state apparatus. Also, it is very visible in Russia, for example. Of course, as I mentioned, there is a war in Ukraine, and a lot of people are also fallen there, including metal musicians and fans. So that's really tragedy, and I think it should be also reflected in metal studies. Yeah. So that's some points, or these are some points which I think are important or can be considered if we speak about why is our region important for metal studies. I would like to mention also some next steps. I would like to refresh and reactivate a little bit our network, because honestly, I can say that after the publication of special issues Studia de Cultura, our cooperation a little bit decreased and was focused mostly on our local metal studies. So I would like to bring the cooperation again on to the higher level, and refresh and reactivate our network. We have also some Facebook page, official Facebook page. Currently, I'm managing it by myself. It would be good if somebody from Poland or Hungary or another countries could help me with that, to bring some news about local events in individual countries. So I think it would be good to establish or improve our public image and inform the world, let's say, about the events which we are organizing in individual countries regarding metal studies. What is also next step from my point of view, and I'm really glad for that. We already established some cooperation with Petr Pichler. By the way, he and his collective published recently a book, Metal, Open Questions in Metal Studies. You can find also chapter about metal and religion in Central and Eastern Europe from me in this book. Peter also aimed to do some project in cooperation with some of us about some transfers within metal scenes in Central and Eastern Europe. So maybe I hope you will also discuss this aim and this project in his keynote speech. So we can also discuss it definitely in discussion panel in the end of this day. So international cooperation is of course very important, and I'm glad that it's increasing or it's growing again. Connected activity with that what I said is that we would like to create a book about metal in Central and Eastern Europe, because I think it would be really good that so broader audience from the world can read chapters about metal in Central and Eastern Europe, and also about metal studies and in Central and Eastern Europe. So by this slide, I'm in the end of my presentation.